Welcome to IBG TV. I'm your host, Mike Hill, and with me today we have Jet Andrews and Christopher Johnson from CalTex. Chris, Jet, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Well, thank you for coming. Tell us a little bit about it, CalTex.
Well, CalTex, we're a company that's been around for over 40 years. We're actually one of the largest paint distributors in the U.S. We deal with over 4,000 dealers across the nation. We don't just do paint sealant for automobiles. We also do RV, marine, power sports as well, just to name a few.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned over 40 years. Has much changed in the chemical business in the last 40 years?
Yeah, the game has changed a bit, Mike, as well as our products. So when we first started out, we had a rub-on product. Now, one thing I apologize, I should have spoke to earlier is, and it means a lot to us because we create all of our own chemicals. So we're not outsourcing. That's one of the things that makes us different. Like I said, we have our own chemist on site, and she does a wonderful job. Now, part of the maturization of our product is when we first started out, we had only a wipe-on product. I call it Mr. Miyagi style of application, wax on, wax it off. I live in Texas, sir, so imagine taking that type of application and, say, applying it to a F-350 in 116-degree heat.
Wow.
And then going back in and talking to a guest, right? I'm bald, my head shines. It's never a good look. I'm glad to say that through the evolution of the chemical, now you had great shine with that chemical. Not saying it's a bad product. It's still good. But part of the worry is that application and the timing process. One of the things we look at whenever we're growing our products and helping them evolve to better suit, we look at the day one customer, which is the customer. Then we also look at the dealer. And our job is to ensure that the dealer is able to make more money. Now, part of us enabling them to make more money is making them more efficient at the same token. When I say more efficient, it's application timing. So if we're applying that rub-on application to a F-350 in 116-degree heat, timing is critical, and someone in F&I may be waiting to have that vehicle delivered, may lose the deal. You're going to have to pay your techs more money in the back for that extensive amount of work. So we took a look at that, and our chemist created a new product, which we called our NG2. The NG2 product, how we changed the game, per se, with that product is now, instead of having to simply sit back and wipe it on and wipe it off, you can spray it on and spray it off. Would you like an example?
Yes, I would.
All right.
I'm intrigued because I can remember going back into the detail bay and watching them put it on, and taking that time to put making sure it's on every square inch and not on some things, because if you got it on some areas of the car,
correct,
you would have to spend a whole bunch of time getting it off. So yes, I'm very curious.
Yes, sir. So with the ease of application now, their process would simply be, we'll talk about outside application first, and then I'll move to the inside application.
Okay.
They'd wash the outside of the vehicle, rinse it off, right? While it's wet, take our product and apply it. Simply mist it over the vehicle. You don't allow the chemical to dry onto the vehicle. And then you spray it off, chamois it down, it is applied. Now, one thing that people have to be cognizant of is they're not supposed to wash the vehicle after the application for another 24 hours. The reason being is, not to get too technical, right? But what we're doing is we're creating covalent bonds. So the outside of the vehicle is negatively charged. That product that we're spraying onto the vehicle is positively charged. So once they get on there and they link up, another chemical like soap or anything of that nature can't be put on the vehicle for 24 hours because we still need it to cure. So that's going to take 24 hours.
Absolutely. I think it's kind of a great, when you even go back to the original question on what has changed, right? In 40 years, that's one of the main things is being able to take that science-based approach, right? And one benefit we have as CalTex being a chemical manufacturer, right? We have complete control over that process. Unfortunately, most chemical providers out there, they're taking something off a shelf, they're buying box goods, they're changing the label, and they're basically a distributor, right? Which is a way that this business has happened for a long, long time. We've taken the approach and put together an 87,000 square foot facility in Church, Texas, to make sure that we can control that process from start to finish, right? So we're one of the few, if not the only, who has a full-time chemist on site, and her entire job is to make sure that we are constantly providing the best-in-class product, right, and best-in-class service, so that when it gets to the dealership level, not only is the protection what we say it's going to be, right? Not only are we fulfilling that promise that we're making in F&I offices, on sales floors, and anytime we're able to, have a handshake and have a conversation, we also want to make sure, like, Christopher alluded to, that it's extremely easy for the dealer to apply, right? So when you talk about the first probably 30 years of this business, whether it was us or another chemical provider, all the waxes were pretty similar. They were pretty good. It was a high-end carnauba wax, and it had a nice looking shine. And like I said, it took all day to put it on, but once you got it on, man, did it look great, and it looked good till it didn't. You might get 30 days out of it. You might get 60 days out of it if you're extremely careful, but it was a constant reapplication and reapplication and reapplication. And when you start providing a warranty, that can be hairy for a dealer, right? Because you can't control those reapplications. You can't control what the consumer is doing to that car every day. So we've been able just to, like I said, over the last few years where nanotechnology has become available, before it was only NASA that could use that. Now guys like us can do it, so you start having other sciences available to you where we can take those carnauba particles that we used to use, and now we can take silica and silicon dioxide, these other chemicals that you could use on a vehicle, and instead of putting those big huge molecules on top of the clear coat and the paint like we did for 30 years, now we can break them down into nanoparticles and actually have them fill in the pores of the paint and fill in the pores of the clear coat to provide just a longer lasting benefit for the consumer, right? And it's just overall a better experience now than we could provide before. And again, that's just something we pride ourselves on, is that we're constantly just trying to innovate, right? What's best for the customer, what's best for the dealer, what's next, what's coming, what's the new buzzword, how can we get in front of it and make sure when it's relevant, we're already there and ready to have it available to our end users.
Well, you speak of buzzwords, and I think I was with my friend. He was picking up his motorcycle, and I noticed they had on display there in the service area that you could have ceramic coating put on the paint. And I know you see it ceramic for your paint sealant.
Yeah.
That is the buzzword.
Absolutely.
So where's Resistol as far as ceramic?
So with ceramic, fortunately we saw that coming pretty early on, right? And Christopher talked about the evolution of our product from the EnviroGuard that was probably the first thing you heard of when you met CalTex, back in 2007. EnviroGuard was the next evolution. Then NG came. Then NG2 Extreme was ceramic because obviously, especially in the higher end cars, that's something that people are looking for. They're on YouTube, they're doing research. We're dealing with a more educated customer, right, than you've ever seen before. People have so many resources to arm themselves before they walk in, and it's a great thing because they're asking informed questions, and it's so easy to have a conversation with a customer now because they want this information, right? And they want to know that you have a solution for them when they walk in. So it's been about 5 years, I believe, when we first rolled out that NG2 Extreme that had the silica or the silicon dioxide or the ceramic, right, is what people know it as, on the street. And it was a great thing for us to be able to provide that in a format where a dealer can apply it consistently, they can apply it effectively, they can apply it in a short amount of time, and provide a customer with a one-time application solution that they don't have to worry about for the next 3 to 5 years of their ownership cycle there. When you talk about a true ceramic coating, which most people think of when they walk in, that's a very involved process, right? And so a lot of times when a consumer is asking about ceramic or if they've researched ceramic, ceramic is very difficult to apply. When you talk about a traditional ceramic that's hand applied, depending on the size of the vehicle, that's a 3 to 5 to 8 hour application. It could be a 2 to 3 day cure. You have to have a master detailer that is in an environment where there's no contaminants in the air. It's just a very involved process, and it's not for your everyday customer. Right, that's for a show car. That's for an enthusiast. That's for guys like us that are going out every Saturday morning and washing their car and getting it ready for the weekend. Right, there are people that benefit from that, but we understand that the people that walk into our dealerships, the people that do business with our partners, and like I said, we have over 4,000 partners across the country that are using Resistol products or CalTex products. We want to make this is for the everyday driver. This is for mom and dad picking up their kids on the weekend. This is for just people that are busy and they're working and they're living life and they don't have time to do all the things that are necessary to keep a hand-applied ceramic looking great, right? So, we've, again, just taken, nanotechnology and, these other sciences that are available to us to make sure, okay, we can still provide them that same ceramic. They can have that same look and feel. We have the same hardness on the paint and the shine on the paint, and it's going to feel, smooth and silky just like you want it to be, but it shouldn't take you 8 hours to apply it, and it shouldn't take you 3 days to get to drive it. If we can apply it inside and out in less than 30 minutes, get you on the road, go, show your friends and family your new shiny car, and it'll look like that with minimal effort for the next 5 years.
So you're saying 5 years? It's going to last 5 years?
Minimal. It's a one-time application.
Wow.
And when you speak to the warranty itself is renewable for the life.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as they own it, they can have that coverage. And then I just want to speak on one tiny thing real quick too.
Go ahead. I know you're excited.
I get excited about my paint. You were speaking about the buzzwords and the latest and the greatest. One buzzword now that's out there I don't want to leave out is graphene.
Absolutely.
For years it was ceramic. Now graphene is a word. And Ashlyn, our chemist, caught wind of it. She does such a phenomenal job. There are a lot of things when she made this next batch that we call our Resistol 360. It is ceramic mixed with graphene. So what happens is when you mix the two together and you apply it to a vehicle, it creates a two-dimensional honeycomb lattice that fits over the vehicle. Now, graphene itself is 100 times stronger than steel of the same width, but it's also malleable like rubber. That's how it creates that lattice over the vehicle. So now, once it's applied to the said vehicle, you have the strength and protection from graphene, but you still have that shine of the ceramic. And to Jet's point, that same ease of application that doesn't take you 3 days, and it doesn't have to be constantly reapplied.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Obviously, this is a huge. I had no idea your facility was as large as it is. I knew it had been around for a long time. I didn't realize it was that long. You also have a windshield product.
Correct.
Tell me about the windshield product, because I know there are a lot of different windshield products out there. How in the world are you going to stop a rock from damaging your windshield?
So glass itself is porous, it's rigid, right? With ours, what you may find is a lot of windshield products that have to be reapplied or reapplied within a year or so and touched up on. With ours, you do not. Our product itself used to be a wipe-on. Again, we keep talking about the progression. We used to use towelettes for the application of our windshield product. But as you know, in dealerships, number one, if that box full of towelettes gets wet, how good do you think that's going to work? Right?
Exactly.
And not saying that this would ever happen, but it's a lot easier to pick up a box full of towelettes than a gallon full of liquid and have them disappear. But with the liquid application, we switched from the towelette to the liquid application, again, for ease of application, but it's also a better, stronger product. So again, I said you don't have to reapply it. What it does is it fills in the pores on that glass. So think of it, think of the side of a mountain. We're in Utah, right? You're driving down, you see those ridges on that, that's your windshield. That's what it looks like. So after we finish applying our product, those ridges are filled in. So then think of, say, a foosball, how smooth that is. That's how it would be. So it's going to act like Rain-X on steroids. It's hydrophobic. So, of course, it's going to repel the water. It's going to slide right off. As well as it's stronger. Now, it's not going to stop an act of God. If a tree limb falls, it's not going to stop that or a final destination moment. Something goes through your windshield, but it will create a harder thickness onto the windshield that's going to help repel that rock.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it sounds like fabulous technology and a tremendous amount of science behind it. So why isn't it just applied to windshields? Why don't windshield manufacturers just put it on?
You know, it would be great if that was that easy. Don't you wish they would just take care of us like that from the manufacturer? Say, you know what, we're going to give you the strongest glass possible, and we're going to give you the smoothest paint possible, and we're going to apply these protections. And unfortunately, they just don't do it that way. You know, they do a good job at the manufacturer of building you a great car that's full of all the latest technologies that you want. And, you know, they put the least amount of paint they can put on it, and they put a little bit of clear coat on it, and they hope it looks nice during your ownership cycle, but they know that there are going to be, you know, issues down the road that are outside of their control and outside of the consumer's control. And as a product provider or a warranty provider and a dealer partner, that's where we come into play. You know, that's what we've done for the last 40 years is fill in the blanks and do the things that they don't do for whatever reason, and make sure that we're there to shore up that ownership experience, to give you everything available on your vehicle to make it as safe as possible, to make it look as nice as possible and be presentable for you. And whatever you want out of that ownership experience, we have something on the shelf to provide through a dealer partner to make a customer happy and provide that benefit long term for them.
I love that idea, exactly where you say you're shoring it up, because we all want the car to look that good.
Exactly.
But we know after a couple of years it starts fading. And
Greetings, I'm David Ibarra. I'm delighted to share with you my new book, Live Ready, Beyond Think and Grow Rich. As one of the largest licensees of Dr. Napoleon Hill's Science of Success Principles, I've taken it upon myself to modernize these principles and to share these principles in my own voice. I promise you, if you read this book and become a disciple of these principles, it will change your life. Order it today on Amazon.com. Thank you.